things. So I just started recording, same as usual. It'll be a minute or so while I'm looking for something to talk about after I talk about this thing we're about to talk about. But here at the very beginning, right, like if you're kind of thinking through like how much value am I going to get out of hacking this health pack, you can maybe think, okay, they might grab it like 2 or 3 times within this next fight. So that honestly could be a pretty good idea. Another thing to consider is that you could just go up to spawn and farm them for a little bit, and then that could get you like an easy 20, maybe 25, something like that percent to your ultimate, and then that could give you the leg up if you're getting that charged up super soon, like faster than they're charging their ults. So that is another option here. I'd probably say that either or is not a very big deal, because you could just hack this and then walk over to start to shoot at them. So let's see what you do.
In this game, I'm just going to say that in this game, there are people from very different ranks, because I'm a gold and their Torb is a high masters player,
Hmm.
and my May was not visible, but I suspect she was very high ranked as well. But you'll see it.
Okay,
I think I handled myself decently in this game.
sounds good.
Attackers incoming. Stop the payload.
¿Qué tal? Initiating. Translocating. I might need this later.
I'm gonna have to shoot you down.
Hey there.
Forward barrier.
The enemy has placed a turret here.
Okay, very good.
Ay, te dolió. Initiating.
Oh, make sure we're not just like holding that down without a target in mind of who we're hacking. Otherwise, it's just gonna kind of go into whatever here, because right, because we're not necessarily. It feels like because we're holding it down as we're coming over, so it doesn't. I think we're looking for the Genji here, but then we hold it down and we turn the corner.
When I look at, I think I'm looking at either Torb or Ryan, but I didn't realize it was a turret that was hacked.
Yeah, so I think their Reinhardt probably would have been the best target to hack, right? And then we just kind of go for the turret, which isn't like terrible, but at the same time maybe not max value out of it. Nice hack. Very nice. All right, so far doing very good. All right, very small efficiency things overall for really good first couple of fights. Right now, we should. Oh, what happened to? I don't know what happened to our translocator. Did we just kill it?
I think I canceled.
Okay, I don't know.
No, it got broken. Yeah.
Oh, we got broken. All right,
Yeah.
let's see what we do with that.
Well,
All right.
actually, can you go back a little bit? I
Yeah.
might have broken it myself.
Yeah,
No,
I think you
it got
just.
destroyed. Yeah.
It got destroyed, or you destroyed it? Because there's no one here to
it
shoot
got
at it.
destroyed because if
Oh,
you look at my cooldown,
It must be
I
the
have
Torp
cooldown.
turret. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I think the Torp turret got it. Okay, so that's okay. So here I would just probably go cloak, toss one back in on the health pack. This is just going to be like if we toss it here, this is like just means that we're gonna come back and then have to run over to the health pack to grab it when we could just probably put it where we had it before, right? So I'd say just put it back, but it's not a big deal. Here right now, what do you think? Do we? Okay, so we go to maybe do it. All right, so let's go back a second. Right, during this time, we place translocator down. What do you think that you should be doing as of right now with your time?
Either hack health packs or scout for flankers, scout for what their pathing is right now.
The thing I would direct your attention to is our ult charge currently, right? So right now we're 78, and we're in between a fight. We already have health pack, or we already have the most important health pack hacked. We have translocator on it. Probably the biggest thing we could be doing right now, and in most cases, not all cases, but in most cases, would be to start farming ult charge in between fights, right? In between fights is usually a really excellent time just to farm ult charge, because what you can do is do this whole rotation, right? Like get everything all set up, run into their backline while they're respawning, farm someone up a little bit, come back, and then reset before the fight begins, right? So that means that you just get easy ult charge in for virtually little consequence, right? So that's
Mhm.
what I would probably be looking to do right now, is look to go get ult charge, because we're only 20 away from our ult, and we want our ult for when the fight begins. We're a little bit delayed to run for it, and then we do go for the Genji rather than maybe going and farming someone who might be easier.
Didn't move.
Be right back.
My will made real.
Okay, make sure to just keep that high ground. No reason to not to drop unnecessarily. Just remember the high ground's great. No reason to give it up for no reason.
Ay, pobrecito.
Other than that, you're doing a really good job taking these off angles and getting behind them, getting good hacks off. Yeah, so right now is a case where we already have our ult, so it's not like we can do very much with that. So right now what we want to be doing is getting healed up and setting up for our ultimate, so that during this next fight we can just pop in and ult where we want to be ulting. Now, if we're thinking about where do you probably want to be opening, think where's the fight going to be happening and what positioning should you be setting up in.
Mhm. Okay, I should probably be on the high ground opposite my translocator right now, but
So
if I
like somewhere up here.
yeah somewhere yeah.
Yeah, I think that's an excellent idea, because they're going to come into the fight. They're going to walk straight down this. They're all going to be grouped up right in this little choke here. We can come in from this high ground, EMP them all, and then if we need to, we can just translocate back up to the high ground, right? I mean, we could probably just, you know, jump off, EMP, translocate, and then start shooting at them, right? That sort of
I think
idea.
right now I'm getting too complacent because I have this whole location with a hacked health pack, and I can pop out and in without committing if I want.
Apagando las luces.
Yeah, so I mean, this honestly, is not too bad. I would say that this is probably early, right? With the EMP, right? Because when we pop it, the fight really hasn't developed much. And notice how your team is pretty far away. They're not all grouped up in this choke point. Or remember that chokes just are really poor positioning for people to be standing in. It funnels them all into this tight little ball. So if they're all
Mhm.
hacked and all stacked up on top of each other, think of how much damage Monkey can do, right? You don't have your Mei and your Sigma back yet. So the fight really hasn't developed, and usually you're gonna find the most value out of your ultimate when the fight has fully developed. So I would probably wait to draw them in a little bit closer. Besides that, coming in from the high ground just decreases our chances of getting decloaked, as well as decreases our chances of getting stunned out of it, like let's say Ana had slapped us, right? Or
But
something like that.
what I do notice sometimes with Sombra is um, if I wait for the mid fight to ult, then they have used their abilities already. So
Yes, you
I
don't
guess
want to
that
wait till mid fight. Yes, yes, you're correct. I don't want to mean to imply that, but when they're here in this choke, that shouldn't be mid fight. That's just the start of fight. Right now, we're ulting before fight. The fight has
okay.
not started yet. You want to be ulting preferably at the beginning of the fight, or leading up to mid fight. But you're correct. Mid fight is probably mid to late fight is probably where you don't want to be ulting a Sombra. You want to be ulting early fight, right as the fight begins. Here, the fighting hasn't started yet, and ways that you can tell that is the main one is how close are the teams to each other. Here, you can still tell that they're pretty far. There's a little bit of a distance between them. There's still people walking back from spawn. No other ultimates are happening. No kills are happening. So, those are all different things that can tell you that the fight hasn't really begun yet. And then you don't need to rush it if you want them to be in slightly better positioning, i.e., more grouped up on closer to each other, making it easier for your team to clean them up. So that'll make sense. Any other questions on
Yeah, yeah,
that?
true. I guess.
Good kill.
Surrender to my will.
I'm on.
All right, now you still clean it up, so that's good. For some reason they Valk,
Come over here.
and for some reason they also Torb. Make sure they're requesting healing, that way you're not sitting at 117, right? Just tiny efficiency thing.
Don't mind me. See you later.
Oh, um,
Yeah, that was unfortunate. The Genji dash Yeah, I don't think he saw my translocator.
Yeah, so here in this situation, firstly, requesting that healing probably keeps us alive just because we have a lot extra
later.
health, right? We'd have an extra 100 HP. Secondly, I would say this is maybe not the best place for translocator because if you remember, like if you recall back, we talked about safety with it. This isn't a very safe spot because most people on their team, when we translocate back, can see us immediately. They could break it very easily. So you'd probably be best off if you had it in here, but then you also would not be too bad if you had it like on the stairway. Like stairway would be just much better than having it up here, smack dab where everybody can see us and track us through our translocator and whatnot, right? So those two things probably could keep us alive there in that scenario.
Beacon in place. Miss me?
Uh-oh. So there we just...
I was already low HP when I engaged.
Yeah. Looks like we're just unaware that there's a Mercy on top of us. Yeah, we also just gotta watch our health bar there, right?
Yeah,
So
I
just
didn't
being...
expect that so fast. Yes.
Yeah, just watching the health bar. You know, being aware of that.
I might need this later.
Enemies here.
Ay, pobrecito. Enemy turret here. Been here all along.
Alright, so
Been here all along.
firstly, watching the health bar here, we can probably grab
Grab
that
the health bar,
mega right next to us, and then that just means that we have an extra 50 HP to engage with.
Been here all along.
So we come in, we're trying to break the turret. Yeah, I'm trying to think. I think the main thing here is just watching your health bar and then also trying to grab that health pack because in this scenario, just note that even though we're trying to kill it, it's much better to stay alive than to not kill the turret, right? It's just so like if you go 1-for-1 with a turret, that's so little value. It's actually probably negative value to go 1-to-1 with a turret, right? So we don't want to go 1-to-1 with a turret. We want to stay alive to do things. So put a higher priority on your life. Make sure keeping a close eye on our health pack. That's seemingly has come up 3 times so far, and that's actually caused us to die 3 times so far, just because we're not watching our health bar. So make sure keeping our eye on that so that we're not letting ourselves die before we are able to do what we want to do.
Podría... ¿Qué onda?
Where do we place translocator?
Ahorita regreso.
Alright, up there.
¿Qué onda? Miss me?
Remember that if you're going to decloak and try to kill somebody, you want to be close to them. I think that's something we discussed last time, but
I don't think I'm trying to kill her. I'm just trying to farm a little bit.
Okay.
I don't want to get slapped there.
In this scenario, you're probably like if it's a 1v1 against an Ana, you have the advantage, right? Remember that. So,
Really?
yes, yep, you do more damage than Ana. So as long as she does not land sleep on you, you win that duel, right? You can open it up with a hack if you'd like to, because that just disables her sleep and her nade. So think, right, one single hacked Ana versus you as Sombra, you do so much more damage than her, and you also have the surprise advantage, right? You're expecting this, she's not. So she's isolated from her team here. This is a situation where you probably should try to go for the kill because this is what you would call an opportunity for the kill, right? And Sombra is a pretty opportunistic character where she wants to lie in wait for opportunities and then capitalize on opportunities. And Isolated Ana is an opportunity, right? So you as Sombra have a much better duelist potential. It's very low risk because the only possible thing that could kill you here is sleep. And then even if she lands sleep, there's maybe still the only person who could even turn around and help kill you is the Torbjorn who's about to run around the corner, right? So in the scenario, even if you were to get slept, you probably still live, right? So sleep being and then in that, and then also you can dodge sleep. You can, if you see sleep coming straight at your face, you can translocate out. You can use cover, so you decloak here, you shoot at Anna, she looks to sleep you, boom, around the corner, sleep can't hit you, right? That sort of idea, right? Or like I said as well, you could hack her, right? And then I'd probably just get closer, and then that means that you do more damage, even if you're just looking for old charge, if you get a little bit closer there, you're able to actually do more damage and get more old charge. Additionally, I would say that, yeah, like if our objective is just to get old charge, probably isn't the time when the fight's happening, right? Like right next to us. But that was fine. We probably should have just gone in for the kill.
Feeling much better. Enemy turret here. He vuelto.
My ultimate is charging. Understood.
Mucho mejor.
The payload has reached the checkpoint. Experience
Very nice kill.
Down for the count.
I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
Initiating the hack. Feeling
Check
much
Ryan's
better.
health bar there, because you can't. Because look at us. You can detect through walls, right? So what I'd
Yeah.
watch these, because remember you can detect through walls when people are below half HP. So here when we see
Yeah.
Torbjorn's low, you might want to go and check, or what does his HP look like? Can I kill him? Here when Reinhardt gets low and you see he's like hard shielding, backing away from his team, right? You might want to peek forwards and check, because maybe you can kill that off just with a tap, which you can't here, right? You can just peek the corner, tap him a little bit, and then he's dead, right?
Mhm.
So I'd probably look to just peek that, and because we kind of hesitate to peek, and then we get him.
Ahórranos tiempo
Overall,
más
really
relevante.
good off-angle play
Enemy
here.
turret destroyed.
Good translocate out.
Mucho mejor.
Watch the reload. There you
Hey
go.
there.
My ultimate is ready. Team up for special attack.
¿Qué tal?
Okay, so here,
The camp is
I think we're coming in and we're trying to stop the hack, right? That's what our objective is. Firstly, make sure that you're aiming at the hack if we're trying to stop the hack. Or sorry, stop the res.
I didn't even notice
Okay,
the
didn't
rest.
notice the res. Okay, so here, if we're trying to stop the res, that would probably be pretty good. But if we're not going to try to stop the res, then probably the most important thing you could be doing here is getting off EMP, right? But we're not setting up for EMP at the moment because we're decloaking.
Mhm.
So pick one or the other. Here, I think the way that you think about it is like if we're decloaking and we already have Azaria staring at us, we're not going to be able to hack anything, right? So you'd probably want to stay cloaked and then look for the EMP, because now the fight's beginning and we're not there to help out with the fight.
¿Qué tal? I'm out of here.
And then once again, we kind of decloak when maybe we didn't need to decloak.
Much better.
Okay. Cloak here. There's no reason not to be cloaking. When we get it, as soon as we get it back, we should cloak just for that extra movement and getting back sooner, right? That way we're able to get it in with the EMP, and we don't have to deal with the turret until after we've already EMP'd, because the EMP is just very delayed here. Watch for the Torbolt.
Yeah.
Right.
Camarón que se duerme,
So,
se lo lleva la
um,
corriente.
have we talked about survivability at all before?
We've talked that it's more important to stay alive, right?
Yeah, I mean it's very important to stay alive. There's a couple there's ways to look at dying, because dying is obviously very bad for you, and there's four main reasons and ways that people die. People die when they're out of position. Oh, excuse me. Well, they die due to poor positioning. They die due to lack of awareness. They die to a misuse of abilities, and then also overextension. And those are the main ways. There's other ways, but those are the main four ways that people die. So far, we have seen you dying exclusively to a lack of awareness, right? pretty much every single death, we haven't been jumping into their team. We haven't been, I think maybe we've also seen a tiny bit of misuse of abilities, like we haven't been translocating properly, right? Not putting in the right spots. So maybe I'd say that'd be the secondary reason, right? Is ability usage, and we're not standing out in the open. We're not, not taking high ground, stuff like that. I would say the primary thing is that we're not watching our health bar, we're not watching our surroundings, and then
Enemy turret
like here we just kind of run into that tor bolt, right? And then
Yeah.
that kills us. Okay. Additionally, we don't look for ult there, right? When you don't ults that aren't used don't get any value, right? When we don't ult, then it doesn't do nothing. And then we just want to make sure we're using it. When we use it, we're gonna get more ults out in general, and then we can also look to win this fight before they have a chance of winning it.
We all make mistakes.
Okay.
This will heal you.
Probably come out left side if we're gonna want to run left side anyways, right?
Cambia las luces.
Definitely not a bad EMP. Maybe could be like slightly better if we just like peek to get the Ana too and the turret as well, right? That'd be, just make it slightly better. Though it's not bad by any means.
Translocating.
Oh, just barely. Okay,
Ahorita
good EMP.
regreso.
We just kind of toss this one. I make sure that we're putting that in a great spot. Where should we maybe be setting it? Because we want to get a rotation, and where maybe should a rotation be?
On the high ground, opposite the road, on the other side of the road. The
Other
other side,
other side of the road, so like over here.
behind us, behind us.
Oh, okay, over here.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that it's gonna depend on like where the fights happen. I think that until like while we're just going in and farming some damage and they're walking in, we can probably put it on this high ground because we can plop it on this high ground, drop in, shoot at them, and then teleport out. Once the fight rotates around to point area, then yes, you could probably put it up on this high ground. Or alternatively, because we also, if we put it on the high ground, it might take us a second to get healed, but it also would give us good survivability. So this would be a good spot. Additionally, we could also look to play off of this mini room, but it depends again where the fight is happening. So
I would think that putting it on the high ground we mentioned would let me roll out to the mini under the bridge, to the mega under the bridge, and then keep it engaging.
roll out, putting it on this high ground would let you go under here.
Yeah.
I think that would take a little while, because like that, if you translocate out and then you have to run from here all the way under here, then you kind of have to think like, well, what's the point of putting it on that high ground in the first place? You could be more efficient if you put it like right here, or if you put it like back around this corner, right? You could put it right. Yeah, I don't know. So maybe not right here because that would be in the middle of the fight, right? But you could probably put it on closer spots to that. So I don't necessarily think that's a bad idea. If you're gonna do it up here, then your objective would probably just be to peek and wait for healing from your supports,
Okay.
which wouldn't be very bad of an idea. The main thing is that I just want you to be thinking through something more than just tossing it all the way back here, right? In the middle of nowhere, not near any health packs, not close to the fight. You're gonna take not on a high ground. You're gonna take a really long time to respawn. So all the aforementioned things, right? I probably say that you could either do it on this high, do it on this high ground to start. Then you could rotate back to this high ground, or you can just put it on the low ground near your supports and your health pack, right? That would be my recommendation.
¿Me extrañaste?
Right,
Ahorita
so we toss
regreso.
one back. We decloak the
¿Me
hack.
extrañaste?
For your safety, please move behind the barrier.
Been here all along.
Very nice hack.
Огонь по готовности. Surrender to my will.
Okay, maybe slight delay here when we're not doing very much, right? So just watch your actions per minute. I guess once they res, we kind of sit back just for like, let's say like 2 seconds, right? And then we push in afterwards.
My will.
Once her bubble runs out, and she just bubbled and she just grabbed, what are we hacking? We're oh, I guess
Yeah,
I guess I didn't see. I thought they should bubble to
projected,
get
I
you
guess.
there,
Yeah.
right? So we're hacking one zing ability. Probably not worth it when we could be just like using that time to shoot and then hacking somebody else. Okay.
Pobrecito. Beacon in place.
Okay, now that's not a bad spot to begin. That's not too bad
Feeling
at all.
much
But
better.
though again, when the fight's happening this far forward, so you can probably put on the high ground and be much better off. It'd be closer, probably give you that high ground advantage. Though
Here I am.
at the same time, I'm trying to think. You know what? Actually, that's not too bad because it just gets you back in the fight fast as well. So that's fine.
Enemy turret destroyed.
Very nice. Keep up that. Probably no reason to drop there. We can peek, duck around this corner here where they can't see us, right? Cloak,
Yeah.
and then like maybe run around or something of that sort, and then we can just keep farming because we're 80%. It's in between a fight. We probably just want to be farming ult charge right now so that we get our ultimate for when this fight begins. Because getting your ultimate is of a higher priority than hacking one health pack and then sitting around for the next 5 seconds, right? And
True.
or
True.
10 seconds or 15 seconds, right?
Yeah. Right.
So by now we could have had easily had our ultimate. Now we do get both tanks, so now we don't need it.
Pobrecita. Much better.
Good hacks. Honestly, hacks have been on point. Okay. So where is fight likely to be happening here?
Right here.
You know, right where it has been happening.
Yeah.
Do we want to? I guess a clarifying question: do we want it to be happening in this room, in right here out in the open? Where do we want the fight to happen?
Uh, where it's been happening because it's more open and the monkey can jump more.
Yes, so out in the open because here they can just back up very easily if the fight happens right there. So we're looking for an EMP. Where should we be setting up for EMP?
Below Reinhardt.
Okay. Now let's think through that for a
Or
second.
actually no, I should be stepping up behind them, but it's going to be hard to get there without being detected.
Okay. So why I guess like let's think through that scenario. Why would you say not underneath? Well, like what's the problem with going underneath?
I don't have so much visibility to as to what's happening and where their positioning is.
I wouldn't say that's a big issue. I'd say the main thing is that we've already done it 3 times, right?
Okay.
So they're already going to be looking for you under there. So in this scenario, they could just drop and all of them look at you and then you're dead, right? Or they can drop and Ana sleeps you and you're dead, or Reiner pins you and you're dead, right? So that I would be careful of doing the same thing over and over and over and over again. Here in the scenario, I would like look at how many people they've just walking back from spawn, and we have speed, right? With this, I'd probably use the time to just come up through here, come up the high ground, and then just walk behind them. Don't decloak and shoot. Don't decloak and hack. You just want to walk behind them, wait for them to drop, and then once they drop, you're just going to you maybe can what you can do is like you can place a translocator up here, right, and then jump off, EMP, and then translocate back up, and then start shooting at them, right? That sort of idea.
Mhm.
And then that gets you behind them. It means that you're not being predictable. Here though, we kind of I guess going for Ana there isn't too bad of an idea. She does go off on her own there.
Ay, pobrecita.
Yeah.
Freeze! Don't move!
And then you're winning the fight, pushing that room. There you go.
Surrender to my will.
Honestly, gameplay's looking a lot more solid. If you're playing comp more frequently, man, you'd probably start seeing some rank ups. So, get in that whenever you get the chance. I'd recommend. But,
Hmm.
that's up to you. You're already, just off of this game alone, your gameplay just seems a lot more solid than we have seen in the past.
Group up with me.
Yeah. So on Sombra, I'm getting good results. The
Mhm.
thing is, when I switch to another character, my MMR is my Sombra MMR right now because I
Yeah.
mostly play Sombra.
Mhm.
So then I go to back. How much time do we have left?
We started at, I'm trying to think. We started at 2:30, so we have 26 minutes left.
Okay, we can just maybe go out of this VOD and go to another VOD, I
Yeah,
guess.
okay. Mhm.
So we can see a little bit of my Bastion play because it's terrible.
Okay, that works.
I usually don't join the chat, but one sec, my Overwatch isn't working. I don't know why.
Oh, you're good.
I'm gonna restart it. But often, if I do join the chat, I end up leaving right away because without saying anything, I get insulted by both my team and the enemy
If
when I'm playing Bastion, just because I'm playing
mm,
Bastion.
yeah, it's
It's not
gonna
like
happen.
I'm not trying to throw or anything. I'm just doing my best, but I want to play that hero.
Yeah, which is understandable. People don't don't really have an appreciation for off rolling, or like playing characters that aren't meta or fantastic. Like in my opinion, I've never cared a ton just because it's, if they know how to play the character, then they know how to play the character, right?
Okay, this is a game where we are getting wrecked and then we roll. It's only 5 minutes, so I think it's good to look at Bastion a little bit. I guess. View.
Okay.
I'm not. I don't get any value whatsoever with Bastion. Then I switch to Sombra and
hmm
we win. So wait, wrong. I need to give you the VOD, not enter the replay. Share. Okay, so this is a 5 minute video, so it should be relatively fast.
Traveling to Hanamura.
Oh, you doubt my power
Ready
to
for battle.
take 4 minutes to talk about 1 second of the gameplay. All right.
True. So,
Okay.
so
So all go ahead.
there's not a lot of Bastion gameplay because and I end up switching.
Hmm?
I end up thinking like, okay, I need to carry this game, and then I switch, or I need to do a lot more than I'm doing right now. So I just switched to Sombra, and then we
Yeah.
rolled.
One thing I would already suggest right out of the gate is that Bastion is a character that is going to, and in general this is applicable, but in general across DPS characters, right? There's characters that are pretty flexible and can apply to a lot of situations, but there's also map specific characters where they're good, but they're good only with certain comps against certain comps on specific maps, etc. Right? Where they're situational. So
Mhm.
here in this scenario, I would say that this is not a very good point to be playing Bastion on attack. The exception I would say is maybe if you're going for like a sim TP play and
Yeah.
you take a high ground, right? If you take a high ground and you're playing with a sim TP, then that's different. I so that's one thing to note. Additionally, it'd be also be a little bit different if we had different tanks, because Ryan and Zarya don't directly synergize with Bastion. They don't support him as well as, for example, like an Orisa Sigma would, right? With
Mhm.
giving him that double shield of protection. So think, for example, the difference between doing Bastion on defense here would be much, much better, because what you can do is you can sit on this high ground and just spam down choke and with your tanks, and they just have a lot less ability to do anything. But if you think about how Bastion works as a character, Bastion as a character just sits there and he does a lot of damage, right?
Mhm.
So until Overwatch 2 where he can move, right?
Yeah.
um,
Right. True.
so if you're on attack and you need to push through this choke, the question becomes, how are you going to be able to do that effectively as a character who sits still and does damage, right?
Mhm.
So that's why you might find more value out of a character like Sombra, who can get past this choke very easily, run around, and then do stuff once she's past the choke. versus Bastion, who can just sit here, and then what do they do against you? Who just sit here? Oh, okay, they just run around the corner, and then you can't do anything, right?
And they're like, okay, we have a Junkrat, so it keeps blasting, and I can't do anything.
Yeah, exactly. So, first thing I'd be thinking about is, does my composition support it? Does the map, is this a good map for it? And then also you can think through, do they counter me, right? That's
Mhm.
another thing you can't think through. For
It,
example, another really good spot for another good map for Bastion is just the last map you played on Junkertown. Bastion's really good on attack. You can play what you call pirate ship comp, where you set up on
yeah.
point and you just travel along on cart, and then you can mow them down as you go along.
Mhm.
So that'd be the first thing to mention. This isn't particularly a good point for him, but we'll go as if you are playing him.
Defend objective A.
Go out with your team. No reason to be sitting in spawn, because then that just delays the time where you could be up there shooting at things. So make sure you're coming out with your team, not lagging super far behind them.
Get them off me.
Um, okay.
I actually saw that trap, but I didn't realize it was the enemies, not mine, not ours.
Yeah. Here we were very delayed to be doing anything at all, and then by the time we're doing anything at all, we're already down a player, and half of our team is half HP, right?
Mhm.
So note, by the time we've done, I think we have yet to do damage, and
Yeah.
the fight is already progressed by a lot, and that's just because we walked out of spawn late, and we approached late, and we didn't start shooting at things, and then we're just kind of sitting there. So make sure and then here we're shooting at a wall. So just make sure that you're in there doing things, right? And that's what we talked about with Sombra, right? Is like actions per minute. Make sure you're going in and doing things. Same concept applies in Bastion, but in different ways. Okay, so for Bastion to get most of his value, his potential, right? He needs to be able to set up in a sentry. That's how he does most of his damage, right?
Okay.
So your objective is to be able to set up in your sentry as often as possible, and then when you cannot set up in sentry, do as much with your gun outside of sentry, right? That's kind of, think about it, Bastion,
Okay.
like that. So there's only specific times where we can set up in our sentry, and those times are mainly either when we are protected, or when they don't know where we are. Right, so there's, I guess, let me think of three scenarios, right? So when we're protected, so that would be, for example, like we're behind all of our tanks and shields and whatnot, right? And they can all tank for us and block for us, and then we can't take
Mhm.
very much damage. We can also do it if it's a surprise advantage, such as if we take an off angle or a flank and we surprise them and they don't know we're there. Well, then we get to mow them down before they can even look at us and do anything to us, right? And then we can also do it if we're like really far away and they don't have long range characters, right? Like, let's say they didn't have, I mean, like, even Ashes we're fine against, because she's not going to do enough damage fast enough to kill us. Maybe unless they do have a Mercy, so that changes it slightly. But you might have to be scared here because they have an Ana who can sleep you from far away. They have Ash who can shoot you with a Mercy from far away, and they have a Junkrat who can shoot you from far away. So that one is maybe out of the picture, except for a few occasions, right? So here, do you really have options to flank and off angle?
No, but I could go to the high ground. That's the best I could do, I guess.
Like here?
Yeah.
Even from here, still not really accomplishing an off angle, right? Like, you're maybe getting like a crossfire effect, but you're not getting around any shields or any tanks, so you're not getting to the back line at all. So I'd say it's a pretty weak off angle, if anything. So in this scenario, what's maybe your final option?
Farm ult somehow.
Final option out of ways to get enter your sentry. If we can't,
Get
if we can't just sit there from far away, and we can't take off angles and flanks, what was the last option that I presented?
uh, get on top of them, I guess. If the Rhine have the Rhine go in and go right behind him.
Yes, use protection. Use your tanks. Use your team. Use shields. Use bubbles, etc. Play with your mercy so that your mercy can damage you. Now, what do you notice in our gameplay that is maybe contrary to that?
I'm playing away from my team.
Yes. Okay. So there we get into the conundrum. We're not really getting too much of an off angle over here. Maybe a little bit, but it's a weak off angle because once again we're not getting around very much. And over here, they can all probably just mow us down very easily, and we're not gonna be able to set up in sentry for very long. So your best course of action probably is going to be going and playing with your team and playing from that angle with them, and then you might be able to stay in that sentry for a longer period of time, right? Okay, so look, we set up and then we immediately are pressured out, versus if Reinhardt's able to sit there and shield for us. Okay, do you want to keep playing, keep going through this, or do you have any other Bastion footage?
No, we can just keep going. I guess there's not that much
Mhm.
time. I want to see how. I mean, I'm pretty sure I did better with Sombra because we won, but
Okay,
I guess we
so I
can
mean, I just
see
recommend.
what's the difference.
Yeah, so I just recommend play him more as you get used to him. Play him against comps where they're not necessarily where they don't counter you. Play him in comps where they match up well with you, and look to play him on points where he is good, right?
Okay.
And then if you're confused about any of that, we can discuss that.
I
But
have
yeah.
one question, by the way.
Mhm,
I mostly play hit scans. I only play hit scans except Symmetra, but
mhm,
Symmetra's beam is also hit scan, sort of, if you know what I mean.
mhm.
I've been thinking. I kind of like the character Torbjorn, uh, but he's a projectile hero. Would that be counterproductive? Bad for me, suboptimal for me to learn him.
Not super bad because it's not like the main thing with that is you don't want to be super split between them where you have like I don't know. So like I guess it really depends on like where your priorities are. Like that maybe matters a little bit more like if you're in like competitive super competitive play where you're playing on teams and stuff like that, where maybe you might want to stick a little bit closer to your role. But I wouldn't say that's too big of a deal from like to pick up Torbjorn as a character. It's like I have hit scans in my repertoire even though I'm a flex DPS, right?
Mhm.
So I wouldn't say that's too big of an issue at all. It'd more be don't I would say the bigger issue would be spreading your hero pool too thin, which 4 characters isn't a ton, right? So
Mhm.
I would say that wouldn't be a big deal to add Torbjorn, but I'd maybe before adding in extra characters, learn the characters that you already have, unless you want to remove someone from your hero pool.
Okay, so a maximum of 4 is what you're saying.
Not necessarily. Usually my recommendation is like 2 to 3, but you can learn more the more you play. If you
Okay.
play, for example, if you play 1 hour a day, then you don't have very much practice time, and you'd probably be best off if you only played like 1 character, maybe 2 characters, because you don't have very much playtime to work with. But if you played maybe like 2 hours a day, well, maybe that can go up a little bit. 2 characters is more
Okay.
reasonable.
Good.
You let's say like 3 to 4 or 5, something like that. Now you can maybe learn like 3 characters. That's all good and dandy. Maybe add in a fourth there as well, right? It wouldn't be
Yeah.
too bad. You go
Yeah.
up. Good.
Three should be fine. But
Hmm?
three will be fine for me. It's just like, for example, tracers are very are the highly mechanical players
Hmm?
that often carry teams. They often play tracer when they are losing. They go to tracer, and
Hmm?
Torb is a character that I like the way the character looks and talks and some of the skins, and that's important for me.
Hmm?
And he's a good counter for tracer. You
Hmm?
know.
Yeah. So I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to the idea, just depending on how much you play and how much time you're gonna be able to put into him and all the other characters. But like, I mean, you could also replace another character in your hero pool with him if you wanted to.
Yeah, either soldier or bastion, I guess.
Hmm?
Because I'm not very good with soldier or bastion, so I could keep Symmetra and Sombra and then add Torb. I'll think about it.
Hmm? Yep. Something along those lines.
I'll think about it. Yes. I mean, I feel that the way I'm playing
Ahorita
bastion,
regreso.
It's not adding too much to my win rate.
Yeah. Which is that's always very reasonable. If you notice cuz I did that as well, right? Like if you notice hey, look at my win rate and just I have like a 10% win rate on Bastion, even though I like to play maybe it doesn't seem to be working out too often. That's totally reasonable to just cut them rather than attempting to learn a completely different character, and then
Mhm.
you can put more time into characters that you're better at, right? Just naturally
Mhm.
better at.
Here I'm drawing attention mostly.
Yep.
I might need this.
As we were getting through the choke, and I wanted attention away from the choke.
See you later.
And look, I spend a lot of time without healing
Here I
here.
am.
Mhm.
I don't know if it's my fault, but
Make sure that we're not jumping in their faces when we're 29 HP, right?
yeah, you'll see.
Yeah. Cause there we could most certainly but just been meleeed by Ana and died. Request healing, right? Go grab health packs as options.
I'm out of here. Be right back. Been here all along.
Yeah, make sure you're not getting too close to him, because then that means that we don't have to like retranslocate out there. But I mean, like overall, we played that well. Just the big thing is grab the health pack when there's like a mini like right next to you a couple times there, and then also request healing. Right, this big old one. When you see you're low,
Yeah,
request healing. That'll let your supports know. Hey, guy. Hey, I need healing. Come look at me.
I finally got healing now. I'm like, oh no, please heal me. But I still haven't done the keybind to just have one button to
Yeah, I mean,
request.
I recommend it.
Yeah, I'm gonna do it right now.
Okay, coming into the fight. Maybe what's the issue with this translocator?
Too far away.
Yeah, way too far away from the fight, where like the fight's either gonna be happening on point or up here, and then you're gonna translocate all the way back. You're gonna have to grab the health pack and then go all the way over here, right? Which is gonna
Yeah.
basically almost be equivalent to you dying, right?
Hmm.
So we want to get speed, a little bit more speedy with that. Where are maybe a couple? I can maybe think of 2 or 3 better spots where we can put a translocator. Where maybe are some options here, depending on where your team
Um,
wants to go and what you want to do.
well, I could, if I was feeling a bit fancy, I could throw it through the window to the high ground.
Up here?
Yeah, here. If I was feeling very like risking it because I can't make that
Yeah,
throw every
I
time.
feel like that maybe wouldn't be the best because like they could probably see that and like Junkrat or Ash could take you out pretty easily, and then you'd be left without a translocator. So
Okay, so
yeah, good
maybe I could put it to the left side, on the balcony,
on
other
the
side,
balcony. Oh,
the
sorry,
other
I'm
side of the
confusing. I'm confusing you. My bad. Say, say that again.
on the coast
Coast.
near the health pack entrance, I guess.
Near the health pack. Okay. So like somewhere like around over here?
Yeah, I guess, or actually on at the entrance of the health pack, so I could go target the runner from there.
Yeah. I'd probably just say toss this straight on top of the health pack, right? There's no reason not to. Cause then you don't cause
Mhm.
then you can just you don't even have to worry about getting it. You can just come out of translocator already having it, right?
Mhm.
Besides, yes, I'd say that's definitely one of your good options, right? And then you can just always you can use that to once you come back, you can run around the high ground, be there pretty fast. You can run around the to point, be there pretty fast. If you need to, you can run all the way around and get a flank on them, right? Okay, maybe I'd say there's maybe like 2 more options here ish.
Maybe uh, on the mini next to point.
Yep, so like down
The
here.
Yeah.
Yep, definitely would say that that wouldn't be too bad of one. Just might have to worry a little bit about people like destroying it. Like if you need to as well, you can also put it down there. And then one more option.
Um.
Give you a hint. It's
I,
another health pack.
really?
Mhm.
On the bottom mega, I guess.
No, I
Oh,
already
you
mentioned
already
that one.
mentioned.
Yeah.
Oh, you're talking about the mega outside the point, or where we are? Oh, this one. Okay, got it.
Right. So we can also just come and put it in this corner, right? And then we just instantly have access to high ground, right? Be able to do things much closer than all the way down here, right?
Okay.
So different ones to be thinking about. And it depends on, okay, what's our play style? What are we looking to do? Are we looking to take out Ana? Maybe place it on that bottom left where you're going to be able to get to Ana the best, right? Are we maybe, like, let's say we have EMP and we're just looking for an EMP. Well, maybe then we want a speedy entrance, so we just put it up here where it's closest to the fight, right? Where we can get in the fastest. Maybe
Okay.
we want a bait point out, right? Then we might want to put it just bottom right here or down on the mega and then just run the point, right? So it's
Okay,
going to
on the
depend. Good.
okay, on this moment, when I'm attacking Junkrat in this moment, what I'm thinking is okay, is not actually to kill Junkrat. If I get it, great. But I'm trying to divert his attention to use to throw his tire at me, but it didn't work.
Oh, okay.
That's why I decloak
See
here.
you later.
No, I mean, yeah, I mean, that's perfectly reasonable. That's exactly what you want to be doing, is looking to try to bait the tire. Okay, so we're running out of time here. Real quick,
Okay,
speedy exit, right? Wrap up stuff, all that jazz. So,
okay.
Sombra, a lot better. Let's see, ability usage.
Everything can
Hacks,
be
great.
hacked.
Just,
And
don't,
everyone.
think about who we're hacking and whatnot. Translocator, make sure we just keep much better. Look to keep it up. Place it. Make sure we're getting back to the fight faster. Think about like, how is this going to help me, right? That sort of idea.
Mhm.
Make sure placing it on top of health packs if whenever we have that as an option. Don't be predictable with it where you're putting it in the same spot over and over and over again if it's going to be found out by them, right? Make sure we're trying to keep it safe. And then cloak, just cloak anytime you're
Be
able
right
to.
back.
Sometimes we just
Been
wouldn't cloak, we
here
had it
all
as an
along.
option. And
No,
then
I put it
that's
too far.
about it with that overall.
Double
Good
kill.
ability usage, probably like
Mhm.
a medium for you to work on. Ultimate
Okay.
usage, make sure we're not holding on to it. Make sure we're just getting as many people as possible in it. Just sometimes we could have gotten one extra or two extra people in it. Try to do it from like above if possible. And then just like run up behind them and doing it, that sort of idea. Overall though, probably like a low to medium priority for you to work on. Mechanics, trying to think. Mechanics we did pretty good in. Can't think of much that we discussed within mechanics. Maybe one extra thing you can think of for hacking was just make sure you're hacking the right targets, hack priority, right? Um,
Mhm.
Overall mechanics, not a ton. Oh, yeah, I guess, yeah, I guess just when you decloak on top of people, make sure you're getting closer, right? Trusting your
Mhm.
ability to duel like a one-on-one on Ana, right? Um,
Mhm.
Besides that, not a lot of mechanics, low priority. Moving over to positioning. Positioning, look to take. I think you did a good job. Just make sure you're still looking to take high grounds because we could have done that maybe a little bit more. Keep your translocator safe. Make sure that we're just trying to find the fastest way back to fights. Get a little bit closer to people sometimes, right, when we're a little bit further away. Then overall, I think we were good on positioning as well. Probably like a lower priority, like low to medium, somewhere around that. One thing to add into mechanics was make sure that we are looking to farm old charge, right?
Mhm.
That when we're in between fights and we got nothing else to do, excellent time to be farming up old charge so you have it for the next fight, especially when you're close to it, right?
Mhm.
So remember to have that in your repertoire. Doesn't You don't always need to do it, but the majority of the time, if you're in between a fight, that's gonna be what you want to be doing is charging up old charge.
Okay.
So that's something to keep in mind. That may be ups. That's like a low to medium. Moving on to awareness. Awareness. Make sure big one. Pay attention to our health bar. Right. Request healing when you're low. That killed us a couple times, right? Pay attention to like Torbolt on the floor, right? Where the Torbjorn turret is. Just in general, pay attention to your surroundings, what's going on around you. Then besides that, I think that's pretty much it. Just a little bit of general awareness to work on. That one was probably like the higher end of a medium for you to work on. And
Mhm.
then that is about it. So to put that in order for you, awareness came as number one, and then that was kind of linked a little bit with survivability as well. Number two was your probably ability usage. Number three was going to be your probably mm, probably mechanics. Number four was going to be your ult usage, and then number five was your positioning. So I'd work on those. Overall, much better. Just keep work on probably that in order. Right, probably work on that awareness first. Make sure you're not dying randomly unnecessarily, and then that'll get your uptime up more. You'll be able to do more things. Overall, like I said, much better. Any questions about anything?
No, that's good.
Alrighty.
And anything about Bastion?
Oh yeah, my bad. Bastion. I mean, we did only go over Bastion for like a minute, but
Yeah, true. I guess.
yeah. I mean, Bastion. We do. I maybe saw you flicker your heal a couple times, but that wasn't that big of a deal.
Mhm.
Additionally, wait, does it not? Oh, that must have been a change they added. I forgot that they added that change
It
where you
doesn't.
don't. Yeah,
It does not consume if
yeah.
you are full HP. You can jump
Yep.
all the time.
I forgot that's the thing, but though I'd still recommend because that wastes time and whatnot, so still recommend against it. But besides that, think about when you're sentrying, right? Like make sure you have protection, or you have an off angle, or you have you're far away from them, right?
Mhm.
Typically, when you're using protection, that's going to be your low risk, low reward option. Off angling is probably going, and flanking is going to be your is going to be more so your like medium to high risk to medium high reward, and then your sitting far back away is going to be kind of all over the place. It depends.
Yeah,
Usually it's a medium risk, medium reward ish around that.
my main thing is with Bastion is I keep thinking that if I that Bastion definitely has the damage to kill people before they can react. But then when I actually try it, I can't do it, and then I just die for it if I do it without protection.
Yeah. So I mean, like you can do this type of thing where like you can take an off angle and jump up here on the high ground, right? Mow this person down real quick, and then immediately come get out a sentry, right? Do this sort of idea, right? So we just want to that it's that concept.
Hmm.
Yeah. So I keep practicing at it if you want to practice at it. So no other questions yet.
No, that's it. Okay, I'll be purchasing another